Before beginning installation of the Curvatura 2x2 system, take a moment to read all of the installation instructions first, and familiarize yourself with all of the system's parts and components. This is extremely important because parts will become permanently damaged if they are installed incorrectly. To help you identify the various parts, all parts are polybagged and labeled. Parts and components may include some or all of the following: this videotape, a bill of materials that includes a ribbon drawing. Remember to check the bill of materials to ensure that all parts and components are present and undamaged. Vault, valley, and/or straight main T segments. Main T splice clips. Cross Ts. 2-foot by 2-foot Curvatura panels. These panels are pre-curved for ease of installation and to ensure that they lay flat against the main T. And edge trim if specified on the bill of materials. If edge trim is specified, your parts may also include edge trim fascia splices and edge trim corner clips. Refer to the bill of materials and ribbon drawing and locate the appropriate flush cut main T to start the first row of main Ts. Next, find a corner starting point based on location specified on your architect's plans or by scaling from a working drawing. It's best to start at a point near a wall or column that can be used for reference and support. Next, lay the main Ts out in the ground as they will be arranged in the installation. Note that main Ts can have two different types of ends, splice ends and flush cut ends. This is the splice end of a main T with a slot for the splice approximately 1 inch from its end. A part ID code is stamped on main Ts with splice ends. For your reference, these ID codes are also listed on the ribbon drawing. This is the flush cut end of a main T. It has a cross T slot approximately 1/2 inch from its end, and the end is flush cut. This is a factory cut end and is not ID stamped, so be sure to check the label on the polybag for part identification. For those installations that make use of flush cut ends, ensure that the flush cut end is at the start or end of the first run. As you lay the Ts out, ensure that you have the proper ends arranged in the proper place for installation. Next, establish where each hanger wire will be attached. Each main T comes with pre-punched hanger holes spaced about 2 feet apart, but hanger wires need only be attached to every other hole. So mark the location of every other hole when laying your arrangement out on the floor. Also, since the Ts are curved, the space between hanger wires will vary along the main T. Once you have established where each hanger wire should go, you can pre-hang the first row of hanger wire. In this installation, we are using USG 18-gauge black-coated decorative hanger wire. If you wish to use this hanger wire, check your local building codes to ensure that it's approved in your area. Now you can hang the first main T, starting at the flush cut end. Hang the flush cut end of the main T from the ceiling based on the elevation and location specified on your architect's plans, or by scaling from a working drawing. Continue hanging the main T by using every other pre-punched hanger hole that remains, roughly about 4 feet apart. Remember, extra hanger holes can be field punched or drilled where required to help work around obstructions. Also keep in mind that the space between any 2 hanger wires must not exceed 4 feet. Some field installations may require you to make a flush cut main T by field cutting a standard main T end. To do this, determine the end location on the main T where the cross T will be inserted. Insert the cross T into that location and use it as a guide in determining the exact cut point. Then, make a small initial mark at the cut point on the main T at the location where the outside edge of the cross T meets the main T. Because this end can be seen from the side after installation is complete, use a square to go over the marking to ensure that it is straight and square, and that the final cut will also be straight and square. Then, carefully trim the main T accordingly with tin snips, ensuring that the final cut has a finished look that is straight and square. Your finished field cut main tee with the cross tee installed should look like this. Now we'll install additional main tee segments. Refer to the ribbon drawing to select these. To connect main tees together, use a main tee splice. Join the ends of the main tees by inserting the tabs of the splice into the slots at the splice ends of the adjoining main tees. Then bend the tabs inward. You might find it easier to align the main tees if you partially bend the tabs until both tees are fully suspended and engaging the clip. Once both tees are fully suspended and engaging the clip, the tabs can be fully bent. You can now continue to install main tees one segment at a time until the entire row is complete. If your installation specifies flush-cut main tees, be sure that you have the appropriate flush-cut main tee when you reach the end of the row, as specified on the ribbon drawing. Remember, the integrity and accuracy of the first row of main tees will ultimately determine the quality of the completed installation, so be sure to check the integrity of the completed row. Extra care at this point will prevent troublesome alignment problems throughout the rest of the installation. Next, examine the profile of the completed row from the side. The curve of one tee should flow smoothly into the curve of the next. If the curves are not flowing smoothly, then adjust the hanger elevations either up or down. Wires should hang straight and plumb within 1 and 6, about 10 degrees. If hangers need to be relocated, then move them now. If necessary, you can punch or drill extra hanger holes into the main tee to ensure plumb wires. Now examine the completed row of main tees from one end. It should be straight and plumb. If you need to install additional hanger wires, install them now. It's important that the first row of main tees remain stable during the entire installation process. So as a final step in this part of the installation, install temporary bracing to the ceiling or walls, if necessary, to ensure that the row remains straight and rigid. You will be using this first row of main tees as a template for hanging subsequent rows of main tees, so take extra care to ensure proper wire spacing at this point before moving on. First, by using the first row of hanger wires as a template, install each additional row of hanger wire 2 feet from the subsequent row. Next, using the first row of main tees as a template, use string lines or a laser to hang the next rows of main tees. As each flush cut main tee is hung, connect it to the previous row using a cross tee. Continue to progressively install rows of main tees and join them with cross tees to form the grid. At the opposite ends of each row, install cross tees as indicated on the ribbon drawing. To ensure that the grid remains straight, square, and rigid, install temporary bracing to the ceiling or nearby walls as necessary. Extra care to ensure that the grid remains straight and square throughout this phase of the installation process will prevent troublesome alignment issues later during installation. It's also a good time to go along and tightly wrap the ends of each hanger wire. This is important because the ends of these wires can sometimes be seen from the side after the entire installation is complete. Once you are ready to begin this phase of the installation, place each Curvatura 2x2 panel into the grid. Some panels have a directionality to them, so check the panels for directional markings and install them accordingly. On diamond flex panels, look for the notch in the panel corner that indicates directionality. After each panel has been installed, bend the hold-down tabs as necessary to secure the panel, eliminating all gaps between the panels and grid. Be careful not to overbend the tabs, as this could cause damage to the panel. After installing each panel, visually inspect it to be sure that enough hold-down tabs have been bent to hold the panel flat against the grid. Adjusting tabs later will be difficult. First, remove any visible temporary bracing that may have been installed. Next, follow the ribbon diagram to locate the proper positions for each edge trim segment. For ease of installation, edge trim segments are designed to be about 1/4 of an inch shorter than the main T segments. Fascia splices and corner clips are provided to cover the gaps. Install the edge trim by sliding the appropriate trim segments onto the grid. Then, apply fascia splices and corner clips along the perimeter. Hook them over the bottom edge of the trim and bend the tabs over the top as shown here. Remember, it's easiest to install fascia splices progressively. Squeeze the bottom to get a snug fit around the trim as shown here. Then, bend the top of the splice as shown here. Finally, use your hand to squeeze the trim against the grid and ensure that the trim hugs the grid tightly. Then, screw attach the trim segments to the grid by using number 6 by 3/8 self-tapping screws. Be sure that there are at least 2 screw attachments per trim segment. That completes this video guide on the installation of the Curvatura 2x2 bidirectional ceiling system from USG Corporation. We hope that you found this presentation to be a useful resource throughout the installation of your Curvatura 2x2 ceiling system. If you need more information or clarification regarding these systems, you can reach us by calling 1-800-USG for you. Thank you for using our products, and thanks for watching.